Well, tonight, Governor Ducey is giving a lot of struggling people during these tough times a lifeline by extending a statewide ban on evictions. Team 12's Josh Sanders joins us with the details and the impact. Josh?
Hey there, guys. Yeah, one expert we spoke with tonight says if the governor did not extend that moratorium, there would be thousands of more people living on the streets.
We are behind.
Families like Richard Lynn and Jessica Keenan are feeling the weight of possible eviction, months behind on rent.
The new executive order extending the eviction moratorium on residential evictions.
Governor Doug Ducey now announcing a new executive order, extending the July 22nd eviction deadline through the end of October, along with providing $650,000 for staffing and rental assistance programs for families in need, and $5 million to homeowners who rely on the income from tenants to avoid foreclosures.
If he had not extended the eviction moratorium, the consequences for Arizona could have been disastrous.
Ken Volk with the Arizona Tenants Advocate says the governor's extension prevents a new wave of homelessness across the state.
All these people who are not used to being out on the street in the middle of summer, how are the municipalities going to take care of something like that, just setting aside the concept of coronavirus?
But for Richard and Jessica, the governor's announcement still leaves them with questions since their landlord isn't going to renew their lease next month.
Where does that leave us? How do we try to come up with money to get into a different place if they're not going to allow us to stay here?
There's still a lot of questions to be answered. The governor's office expects both tenants and landlords to work out fair payment plans. The governor's office also expects for landlords to share resources with tenants. We're in downtown Phoenix. Josh Sanders, 12 News.